Hey everyone, welcome to your update for SOL and BTC. Um, so yesterday we had our little flush, which we kind of predicted was going to happen. It just doesn't seem like it's very much of a flush. If you ask me, it was pretty weak little pullback. We ended up bouncing on SOL off the weekly trend to the cent, and as far as a move goes, the thing I don't quite like about that is that normally if they really want to push up to a decent new high, they normally dive trend liquidity. And we had a bunch of levels that were sort of sitting just a couple of dollars down, and in the scheme of a weekly move, it pushing down from 217, which was about the weekly trend, and then pushing down to something like 216 or 213 or 212 or just any of those levels that were really close. Um, should have just been done. Would have been a lot more comfortable with the flush being over if that was done. So as it currently stands, looking at their 1-day liquidity, you can see that huge pile that's just built up down there. And I guess that's because everyone has actually just started longing after the bounce. But there isn't really a lot on the 1-day to the top side. So pushing up to that 232 level was always an option. We sort of talked about that on yesterday's video, but it just seems a little odd that they stopped where they stopped. So we may be in for just another little repeat flush, but I guess we'll see what the charts are saying and whether that agrees. Looking at the 7-day liquidity, then there's a lot more to the upside on SOL, and that could be why that they've just gone, nah, let's go and take some of this, because things like 238 have been our daily target ever since a trend break, a couple of weeks ago, and it's just price doesn't move in a straight line, so it's been working its way up and up and up. So we should still get to that 238 level eventually, and but yeah, I really would have thought they would have taken at least down to that 216. Ideally, we want to see prices at 213 or lower, because most of the really high time frame support kicks in at 213 or lower. And if you sort of want to be able to predict a target, you need to start with a base that's predictable. And most of the things they're bouncing between at the moment are just very unpredictable moves. So just trends to holds on lower time frames, daily or down. So we really want to start to hit some of this big stuff that's down a bit lower, and then we can go big on positions and let them ride up. As far as BTC goes, it's quite even. Probably a little bit more to the downside, but again, it did just pick that minimum level. So we had that 120.579 or 120.539. I can't remember what it was, but that was our very first hard closed high time frame support, and that's pretty much as far as it went. It just went to the first one, just tapped it and bounced back up again. So it just seems a little odd that we had such a tiny pullback when there was so much liquidity just within really close proximity to where they chose to stop. So maybe it's just about to go full on bullish and bounce up to the moon, or maybe it's just a trap. So I guess we'll see how this daily close plays out. It is a prime day, so all we have is a daily close. And yesterday was a prime exchange day, which so it's also been doing a lot of research around trying to figure out what these universal anchor dates are for the various timeframes that exchange use, which differ from TradingView, and managed to find some common dates that actually cross over with weeklies and multi-days. And based on that information, yesterday was the day of the flush, even though it was a pretty weak little flush. So looking at the 30-day, SOL is just very even. It could just go either way, and they basically have a big pile of cake to eat. So 249 is still the high time frame daily resistance, and so that would be one area I would be thinking if we get a bit of a sweep up to that with speed, then I'd be taking some profits there just in case of rejection. And yeah, if they were to sweep this block to the downside, then anything below 213, they're entering into high time frame support. So, and if they took the next block, they're down to 204, so that's more high time frame support. So, yeah, it's just maybe this becomes the hated part of the rally where they leave all this stuff behind and just go up, and they might be leaving the high time frame support behind to create like a dead cat bounce in a bear market. Because it would be a pretty decent rally. Like if they hit some of these levels like 213, etc., can lead to prices like 280, and that would get people back into the game again if they did that in the bear market. So could be what it is. And looking at it from a really short-term perspective, we've got plenty of liquidity building up there to 244, and we've got everything up to 130 is pretty much covered for BTC. And of course, if they dump to the downside, you've got that sort of 116, 117, and you've got the 210 areas. And one thing that was quite interesting this morning is the timing of some of this new BTC liquidity came in. So typically, new short-term liquidity enters the market at the beginning of major market opens, but this sort of came in about an hour after New York had closed, and yeah, very odd timing, like someone's purposely entering the game between major markets. So if you have a look at the charts, so SOL BTC strength on the daily, I mean, we've got 2 hours to go, and candles are pretty much just noise until they close. But if it is to get up above, let's say the absolute most bullish scenario is we get a close over 18639. Now, that'll mean you've got a hold level, you're in a position above the downtrend, you're in a position back up over the uptrend, and the probability then of being able to push higher is very, very good. So, from a strength perspective, it's doing the right things. It's bounced off a daily support level here at 18041, and the next level really that it should look to test would be this break level up here. Where's that? At 19491. Now the the one slight bearish thing about this that could happen is that it could just pull back. Well, actually, there's many slight bearish things that could happen. Some very bearish things that could happen. It could pull back down before the close of the day because that's what we see a lot of the time. A bit of a pump up, and then just before it becomes locked in stone, they pull it back down. So that could be one thing that happens, and then we'll be under trends and under support, and down we go. The other thing is that it is going to create 18834 as a potential rejection level. So same structurally as this level over here, this accumulation range. It got tested, it bounced, we weren't able to distribute back down to it on the next candle. So when we retest it, we get volume because everyone believes that's now a strong level. Now, unfortunately, this level that's up here, well, it's the same thing but in reverse. It got swept, it came back down, and this candle that we're in right now, unless it gets back there, then that becomes the same sort of thing as this lower level here, but like I say, in reverse. So we might get a push up above the trends, we may bounce, but then that level might actually break us down below the trends again before we can actually hard close. So yeah, just keep an eye on that. If they're going to do a trap, it's probably going to coincide with running into this thing and then going back down. So let's have a look at the safety assets. So definitely an in the middle type close. We've got the range trend running up through here at about 64.96 roughly at the moment, but we're under the resistance trend. So we can only stay in this little wedge for a certain amount of time before it's going to have to break one way or the other. If it was to come down before the end of the day and say close under 64.95, then we could just reject off the backside of that range trend and push further down. If we stay where we are, it's basically 50-50 as to whether BTC takes over again and gets strong. A really bullish close would be getting down under the 64.91 area, but we do have another high time frame support just forming down here at 64.71. So yeah, it would be very possible for this to come down, but then have another bounce back up, potentially even break the trend. So it's not really a confirmed downtrend at this stage. If anything, you'd say that looking at it on a daily, you've got the potential of this being low. Maybe it comes down a little bit further into this 64 and then goes up again. So yeah, this could be basically the next higher low of a daily reversal. So just keep that in mind for altcoins. We really want to see this thing break down, and definitely we want to see it break down below this previous low down here, which was around that 63.2. But yeah, as it currently stands, it's got quite a bit of support, and it's got 3 different break levels, 3 different ranges that it hasn't broken. So yeah, it's need to see this thing have a bit of a dive. Okay, looking at the totals. So total excluding BTC, it's still under resistances, but it's not. Overall, it's pretty bullish. I mean, it didn't retest the range trend at 1.66. It's back up above the uptrend. It's sitting above the interior downtrend. So yeah, and it's above the break level. Really, we just need a day of accumulation to actually confirm a hard close at this 1.7 break level. After that, then the entire market's got a new level of support. The high time frame resistance, which was the 1.72 level, and that's what we said yesterday. The 1.72 level was most likely going to reject, and it did, but it's a very, very minor rejection. Like it found support without really even having to go to the bottom of the range. So it's yeah, looking bullish, but not out of the woods, not completely out of the woods. So let's have a look at this from a different perspective. Where are we? So weekly still looks good. All right. So versus the strength of the dollar, it's back down under the range. Well, it's down under one of the range trends. It's in such a pivotal spot. So if it pulls back a little bit before the end of the day, it's going to be back under all of the resistance again. But it is looking to confirm this level today, this 376.19 level, is looking to confirm that as a higher time frame support. So that it's holding and will potentially close within the uptrend. So yeah, it could take a little pullback just to the trend and then bounce again, kind of like what we just saw yesterday. Or if it wants to dive the trend, well, it's got a level down here at 376.19 that'll be really, really strong, and pretty much everything below 372 is hard close. So there's plenty of support down there. To get really bullish, you'd want to see it get above these 2 range trends and above this 387.18 level. After that, boom, off it goes. That would be your bullish close, but we'll see if that happens. Okay. And looking at the complete total minus stable, so this includes BTC, this this is pushed up into a hold level. It's rejected off the backside of the trend, and it's hasn't retested the lower range trend that was created. So yeah, and hard closed of 3.79. So you could envision that this would actually take a drop in the next 1 to 2 days back down to that 3.79 area, which would be confluence with retesting the range trend at the bottom, but also retesting the origin breakout level, which is that 3.79 level. So it's a very, very minor rejection off that 3.94 level as well. It's either very, very bullish and this thing's going to get up over here and go. And once we get over these levels, it's just empty space up there. You know, that's price discovery zone. Got a couple of range trends, etc. But you know, once we're up in that sort of 4 trillion mark, then it's just off it goes. But this is definitely a very weak rejection, almost too weak, and it's going to create a interior downtrend today. So you're going to get something like this coming through. So that's just a little bit more resistance forming to the top side. Yeah, it'd be unusual for that to keep going up. So, and the weekly still looks good. So as long as this weekly stays up, then yeah, off to the races. But the daily definitely looks odd. Looks like it should do another flush, really. Okay, let's check out BTC. Yeah, so BTC daily is pushed up into the hold level. It looks like it's potentially trying to regain that interior trend there, which got hard closed by this candle here. It's possibly, it depends where it closes. If it comes back just a little bit, like let's say it comes back to 122.6, then the position it opens in will kind of be back under this new support, which therefore could become resistance, and it will be back under that older resistance. So, but if it closes where it is or any higher, then it's going to be back up above the support trend, and then it could have another crack at trying to break through the top here. So this is also in quite a important position for the day, and that was the level there that on the daily at 120.826. I think there might have been another level on a slightly different time frame as well, but that level is pretty much what we came down, we hit, and we started bouncing. It's pretty much the first support, so it didn't really bother going below it, didn't bother sweeping, didn't bother hitting the range trend. Price is typically quite lazy, so when it comes to where things bounce, they tend to bounce in areas of confluence where there's lots of different supports coming through. It is a little unusual for it just to come down and just hit that level and stop there. So like I say, it's either really bullish or it's just trying to convince people it's bullish, and then we get more of a flush tomorrow onwards. But what day of the week is it? Wednesday, yeah. So maybe we get a little bit more bullish on Thursday, and then we go into some kind of weekend trap. But as it currently stands, if it closes here, it looks bullish. Could bounce off the top of the trend and continue up. And if it pulls back down below that 122.5, 122.6 sort of price point, then it could reject off the underside of all of this, and that kicks off more downside. So let's have a look at SOL. So SOL played out basically perfectly. Like what we said yesterday. Yesterday it created this range trend. It bounced the range trend. That exact spot that it bounced was also the weekly, which I think has made it a little bit more confusing, because yeah, your weekly trend was coming through somewhere. That was your weekly trend. If you look at it on a lower time frame, you can see it bounced straight off it there. So the weekly levels were 137 for the origin level, 137.5, which was from back here, and that was our little love tap there. And then it's come all the way down to the weekly trend, which is a completed move effectively. So the next question is what happens from here. Looking at the daily, it's come back up. It's hit the backside of the Trump trend, which is a weekly range trend. I've just got it drawn in here on the daily chart, and it's rejecting back down off that. So it's also pushed into the greedy part of the weekly hold. So we could see a return back, sorry, the daily hold. We could see a return back to the daily trend, preferably tomorrow. Don't really want to do it now because where it is now is actually pretty bullish. It's back up over the downtrend, which we like because that means the next candle can use that as support. It's back up into the support trend, so we like that because then it can use it as support. So even if we're rejecting off this daily, and even if we're rejecting off this hold, it would be good if it could just hold up here to the end of the day, and then you might not see such a big retracement from there. If it does end up going into a full-blown retracement on the daily, then the first daily hold level is down here at 213 or lower, and yeah, that's definitely a level I'd be longing. If it came down into that, I'd be scalping that. But yeah, as it currently stands, it's just looking very bullish. It would be a hell of a lot more bullish if it would just get over that damn trend. But really, the key thing is the weekly close. You can close a daily as many times as you want over a weekly trend. It only matters when it's a weekly close over a weekly trend, and then it really only matters when it's a weekly hard close over a weekly trend. So the frustrating thing about this trend is that the top side of this channel is up in that sort of 500 area, $500 area, and every single time we seem to get close to getting a decent close over the top of this trend, it pulls back last minute, last day of the week, pulls back, and goes back under it again. So it's just like a annoying little petulant child. We need to get over it. Okay, so just have a quick look at that weekly again. So as you can see, when we got to that week, it just pulled or went down. Then this week, it just pulled back just under, so that the next candle opened under the trend. So yeah, we really just want to get a weekly up above this trend, and then we want one more week an accumulation above that trend, and then after that we can start to free the candle as such. Okay, let's have a look at some of these others and just see if there's anything interesting going on those. Okay, so we retested the bottom of the ranges that it hard closed back into. It's bounced back up into the daily hold and it's starting to retrace. So it's still in a bit of an odd position because it doesn't get trend support unless there's another down day and then this interior trend can move, and it's still under trend resistance. So really it has to get out of this area, which means getting up over 3.6 so it can continue to leg up, or the other thing, what you want to do is you want to get an actual closed down day, and then if you do get a closed down day with a wick on the bottom of it, you might get some new trend, and then you can bounce that trend, and given that the hold is already tested, it would come up to test the break level again. But yeah, we still haven't gone back and hit that high time frame resistance at 3.6861. So yeah, even if this does get a bit of a push up, that area is still going to be an area of interest to look to take some profit off the table. So that's not really telling us too much. ENA bounced off the range trend, and it looks like it's tested the backside of whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. Unless I put that on there on a different time frame. So what's it doing? So it looks like it's just basically bouncing the range trend to come back up to the hold. So it should probably get up to that 5833 area. And then it's going to run into the range trend if it goes any higher, and then it's going to run into the main trend. So very, and it's also confirming 5998 as higher time frame resistance as well. So yeah, it's pretty much just having a little bounce, but unless it's very similar to SUI, unless it actually gets up over these levels, it's not going to be able to break out and go higher. So if you're in this and you're in profit, you'd want to be looking to take 5833 or above. Look to de-risk a little bit just in case it has a rejection. You can always add it back in if it goes up and closes over the origin level. So if you get a hard close over that 5998, you can always just add back in for the next move up. But at this stage, it's got quite a bit of. It's also got that 6169 level, which would be resistance, and yeah, so it's got a wee bit of stuff to get out of there, but looks like it should just push up a little bit more, and then it'll be worth maybe de-risking. And let's see what else we got going on over here. We've got Cook. So this looks like it could potentially hard close back under the break today, so that would indicate more downside. It has a range trend to retest, and it's got an uptrend. There's probably more trends in there now. Yeah, so bounced off the backside of that. So really this comes down to where it closes. If it closes blue underneath the 13918 break level, sorry, 13934 break level, then expect it probably to come down and retest this trend, probably in confluence with the range trend, because that's how things work, and that would be tomorrow. So that would sort of be an area of interest. You've also got some pretty decent hold candles down here if you just want to take some quick scalps. Because tokens like this, they move in pretty good percentages. So like if you just wanted to scalp a 4% move, then you'll be able to get it off this candle down here. Although I think this is only available on Bybit, so I don't know if there's too many places that have this. So, World Liberty Finance. So it's bounced off the break level, and it looks like it's pushing back up into the trend. So that's kind of going to plan. Anyone who bought that 18-cent level would be in profits now. If it closes up over the trend, it should push up and try to hit the backside of this accumulation range, which also would be that origin level coming through there at 1940. So that if it closes below that trend though, get out, because a close and a rejection off the backside of that trend could just round trip you. So just get out, or at least take some profits. ZEUS still kind of doing nothing. It's in a better position to have a good close, and it is a weekly, so of course it's got 4 days to go. But if you get a weekly close here, then that 11 11-cent sort of area. Where are we? 10-cent sort of area, I should say, just down here. $1.017. Yeah, a retest of that could create some kind of high time frame bounce. And you'd expect maybe probably back to that level, probably a minimum of about a 40% move, so it's worth keeping an eye on it. And hype, still rejecting, may create a hold level. This is weekly, but yeah, it's got that confirmed support. So really just waiting to see if this comes down to 42.52 or back to the range trend down here. Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, there'd be a pretty decent trade in this if it would actually come back to the range trend and then travel back up to the hold, which, you know, that's about a 24% move. So just waiting to see how that goes. ASTER's just bouncing along the trends, so it might get back up inside there, but it's pretty much, as you can see, it's stuck in this little wedge now. So price is condensing. If you had to play the probabilities on this, where would your levels be? Basically here. 1.8839 would be a pretty key level. It kind of depends on how it gets there, but it's a move between that 1833 here, so maybe, and then it would probably head back to test the equivalent rejection level on the top side, which is about 11%. So yeah, it's just borderline looking to break that trend at the moment. The next candle could open on the side of it, which enables it to break, and then maybe what happens is the trend moves. So really what you should look for on here is actually if it breaks the trend and then the next candle closes with the and then the trend relocates to then have confluence with the support level, and if that happens, it'll bounce, and then yeah, it'll probably be able to use the trend plus the support level to break through this trend and then head up to test that higher level. And ETH bounced the range trend. It's headed back up to the hold level. It's very strong actually, this. So if it closes up over 4543, then it will probably just propel off the top side of the downtrend and then head up to the high time frame resistance there at 4642. So this is very strong. So anything else? Oh, I've got Fartcoin still sitting there. Why not look at Fartcoin? So that's pushed back up above the interior trend. So this is how fib trades can go wrong. You know, if you're not sure where your trends are, and then you get something that pushes up into a hold level, and you're expecting to short this hold level, and then it closes over top of a support trend, and then the support trend pushes it up to the next break level. And in this case, you've only got one candle in here, so the support trend could actually push it up to wherever the next break level is, which could be as high as this 95. It would probably hit this hold level here first though at 80 cents, but that's how things can go wrong. So that's why trading on the front side, when the price is ranging up, trying to actually trade against the trend is not usually advisable. So because you can always dial it down and find the lower ranging inside of it where there is a backside and a front side, and then just trade it on a lower time frame. But as that currently stands, that's in a pretty good position. It's back above the range trends. It's back above the support trend. It has still got resistance above, so it's not completely out of the woods. But this old origin level from back here in April, that'll be the key one. If it gets back up over that and closes it, then it can propel up. So that's pretty much the key for that little fella there. And that's it for today. So yeah, Prime Days, not long videos. And yeah, like, subscribe, and all that kind of jazz, and come join us in the Discord, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.